Hello everybody, welcome back again with another amazing video. And I wanted to check out this video because I don't know, the Chinese economy is just fucking destroying us. I don't know what's going on. We're gonna check it out.
The Chinese Communist Party's efforts to conquer and transform nature have never stopped. Recently, many videos and articles have been circulating online, showing what appears to be a massive project to level the lowest plateau and create 5 million acres of farmland. Reports suggest the
Cool.
project involves a budget of about 1 trillion yuan. One video shows countless bulldozers and excavators at work on the rugged, eroded landscape of the lowest plateau. Machines rumble as steep slopes collapse and yellow dust fills the air. Just watching the video, you can almost imagine the earthy smell of the loosened soil.
This
is south of Lanzhou New District. Tens of thousands of acres of land have been completely leveled.
$6 billion.
Everywhere you look, it's flat. The only areas
investing?
left untouched are parks and golf courses. All this work was just finished just this year. It's endless.
Reports indicate that provinces like Gansu and Shanxi are rushing to implement similar land flattening projects. These initiatives are being described as projects that benefit future generations and are said to transform the lowest plateau into a lush, fertile region.
这一次，我们甘肃的黄土高原马上就要变成平原了。
The lowest plateau in Gansu is about to become flatland. The authorities are pushing forward this land flattening project to create 5 million acres of farmland. For local residents, this is fantastic news. It won't just reduce soil erosion,
Wow,
but
look
also
at that.
increase farmers'
Holy
income.
crap. Oh my god.
Hopefully, this will end the
Oh my
hard,
God.
backbreaking lives of many rural residents.
The amount of
However,
machinery.
many online commentators have criticized the project, calling it an environmental disaster in the making. They argue that such large-scale disruption of the natural landscape will lead to ecological consequences. The lowest plateau, one of China's 4 major plateaus, spans about 300,000 square kilometers across 7 provinces, including Gansu and Shanxi. Its thick lowest deposits, often 50 to 80 meters deep, have been heavily eroded over the years due to deforestation, overgrazing, and land reclamation, creating the unique, rugged landscape seen today. The government's leveling of the plateau has sparked widespread debate online. Some wonder why resources are being spent to create new farmland when so much existing farmland in rural areas is being abandoned. One commenter explained, foreigners don't understand. China has a policy called the red line for arable land, which means the total amount of farmland can't decrease. So when farmland near cities is taken for construction, roads, or development, the government has to find an equal amount of land elsewhere to compensate. They turn barren hills into farmland to meet this quota and even offer subsidies. Whether or not the land can actually grow crops isn't the point. Amid growing public discussion, Chinese state media outlets have stepped in to deny the claims. An article from a major media outlet reported that several provinces, including Shanxi, Gansu, Shanxi, and Ningxia, have denied any plans for such a large-scale project. As for the video showing heavy machinery at work, no official explanation has been provided so far. Chinese state media reported that no major provinces involved in the lowest plateau region have confirmed any such super project or plans to level the land on such a massive scale. Official experts claim that government policy focuses on improving the quality of farmland rather than blindly expanding its area. Transforming the lowest plateau into 5 million acres of prime farmland is considered highly impractical in real-world application. However, comments on social media posts from outlets like Phoenix News, Observer, and Henan Business Daily have been restricted, raising questions.
I'll tell you this, guys. Whatever these Chinese people are doing, I fucking trust them. If they believe that they can flatten the land for horticultural reasons, then I would let them. I would not talk crap because whatever they always do, they just do it so well.
China, all media and online content must adhere to the directives of the Chinese Communist Party's propaganda department. The fact that so many articles and videos on this topic are circulating suggests that they had prior approval from the authorities. Some speculate that the CCP first allowed these reports to gain attention, only to later issue denials, creating suspicion about their motives. Chinese commentator Zhou Peng'an commented on social media that the videos seem authentic, not AI generated. He suggested the project may reflect a local leader's spur-of-the-moment decision to launch a massive but poorly conceived initiative. Zhou expressed concerns over the financial strain on local governments, questioning how such an expensive project could be funded. Seasoned financial expert Xu Zhen cautioned that farmland development must consider factors such as hydrology, geology, climate, and ecology. He compared the situation to the failures of the Great Leap Forward and the Three Gorges Dam, describing them as costly, damaging projects that harmed the nation and future generations. Xu also doubted the financial feasibility of such a project, pointing out that many local governments in China are already facing significant fiscal deficits, with some even struggling to pay salaries. He warned that such projects could result in unfinished white elephant endeavors. Political commentator Henry Lee offered another perspective, noting that large-scale infrastructure projects have been a consistent tool of the CCP to stimulate economic growth, especially in times of economic difficulty. He suggested that the widespread discussion of the Lowest Plateau project might be a way for the government to gauge public reaction before officially launching it. China's economic situation remains dire, with weak domestic demand and persistent deflationary pressures. The Producer Price Index has been in negative territory for 8 consecutive quarters, currently at negative 2.5%, while the Consumer Price Index in November grew by only 0.2% year-on-year, marking its 4th consecutive month of declining growth. Falling prices have not necessarily boosted consumption, but have instead increased pressure on business profits, limiting capital investment and job creation. Externally, high tariffs and declining global demand have further strained China's manufacturing sector, which is now facing overcapacity issues and shrinking profits. Domestically, long-standing issues like real estate market collapses and mounting local government debt have led to widespread business closures and rising unemployment. Currently, China's economy is facing dual pressures from both international and domestic sources. Chinese products are being sanctioned for dumping cheaply on the global market, and exports are suffering from severe internal competition, leading to reduced profits and even losses. Domestically, long-standing issues such as the real estate sector and local government debt have erupted, causing an overall economic decline, with companies continuously shutting down and unemployment rapidly increasing. According to Henry Lee, in the current tense economic situation, expanding infrastructure investment to stimulate economic growth is one of the CCP's chosen measures. The plan to flatten and transform the Lowest Plateau into farmland is being paired with the South to North Water Diversion West Route project. The South to North Water Diversion West Route project refers to the long-distance water diversion from the upper reaches of the Yangtze River, including the Yalong and Dadu rivers, to the upper reaches of the Yellow River in regions such as Qinghai, Gansu, and Shanxi. The project is designed to divert 17 billion cubic meters of water annually to replenish the Yellow River's water supply.
Oh my god, look at this artificial river they created. That's insane. That's like the Panal Canal.
Address water shortages in northwestern China and promote the development and management of the Yellow River. Official propaganda states that the South to North Water Diversion West Route project is not only very necessary, but also extremely urgent. People in the northwestern provinces and along the Yellow River eagerly anticipate the early implementation of this project. In April 2020, the Yellow River Conservancy Commission held a ceremony to launch a comprehensive survey for the project, underscoring its strategic importance for drought relief and regional development. If the South to North Water Diversion Westline project is implemented, the water flow from the upper reaches of the Yellow River will increase significantly, allowing the Yellow River's water to irrigate the Lowest Plateau.
Wow.
This idea seems logical at first glance. Additionally, another trillion-yuan super project recently approved by the CCP indirectly supports the analysis of infrastructure investment. On December 25th, Xinhua News Agency reported that the Chinese government had approved the lower Yarlong-Sangpo River hydropower project. According to Xinhua, this project is expected to generate 300 billion kilowatt-hours of electricity annually, 3 times the designed capacity of the world's largest hydropower project, the Three Gorges Dam. The total investment in the project could exceed 1 trillion yuan. Over the past 2 decades, infrastructure investment has consistently accounted for about
Hey guys, I'm not gonna lie. 1 trillion yen is not that much. I think it's only about 6 billion US dollars. And let's be honest, Elon Musk and all these guys get tax cuts just like that. And they spend it on yachts and planes and wine. But the Chinese economy, they have no chill, you know? They just have project after project. They're building a giant fucking bridge. Like they've been, this is a beautiful thing about China. The only thing that sucks about China is that apparently the young generations are having an experience of let it rot. It sucks because it's such a strong economy. I look up to these guys. They work so hard. They do such beautiful construction. Like, dude, if Canada decides to take on this role, it will take maybe 30 years to get done. With the way Trudeau gets shit done, maybe it'll never get done and just gonna waste everyone's time. But China, 5 years, 6 years, it'll get it done. And this is the government that we truly need. A government that just puts its hard work first and reap the benefits afterwards. Instead of the opposite in the other end. Relax first and then let everything collapse for the older red generations. I feel like that's kind of our
about 11% of China's GDP. Through government investment to drive economic growth, the CCP has gained experience in the past. However, this has led to a large surplus of infrastructure, such as airports and railways, resulting in a significant waste of social resources, with only the surface level economic data looking good. In 2008, former Premier Wen Jiabao introduced the so-called 4 trillion yuan investment plan. But its negative consequences were evident. One of these was the large-scale investments led by local governments, which included repeated investments, inefficient investments, ineffective investments, as well as rent-seeking behaviors and poorly constructed projects, severely wasting China's resources. In recent years, under President Xi Jinping's leadership, China's economy has worsened, and social tensions have intensified. To address this, President Xi has had to turn to his predecessor for advice. On September 30th, 2024, during the National Day reception at the Great Hall of the People, Xi Jinping sat with Wen Jiabao. The two were seen chatting and interacting closely. Some analysts believe that Xi is looking to learn from Wen Jiabao's approach to managing the 2008 economic crisis. Whether Xi Jinping's measures will be effective remains to be seen. However, over the years, Xi has promoted many major projects that have ended up incomplete, earning him the nickname Emperor of Unfinished Projects. Multiple media outlets have analyzed that the top 3 unfinished projects among his long list: 100 trillion yuan chip project, the Belt and Road Initiative, and the Xiong'an New Area.
What was that project? Let me see. 100 million, 100 trillion. Jesus. That is $600 billion. What happened to this project? Hey, it's at least it's not like Dubai, where they tell you they're gonna build islands and they're like, fuck this after Belt and Road. Okay, never mind.
Trillion yuan chip project, the Belt and Road Initiative, and the Xiong'an New Area. The chip project has been underway since 2014, with the CCP investing in 3 phases of large funds, amounting to several hundred billion yuan, leading to the establishment of tens of thousands of new companies. However, the result has been massive losses and widespread unfinished projects. According to data from Chi-Cha-Cha, by the end of last year, 22,000 chip companies had gone bankrupt, and over 14,600 more closed this year.
Jesus.
The Belt and Road Initiative has been in many developing countries for years, but
That
the
is
plan
some
has led to
crazy
corruption,
odds.
environmental damage, and protests
I'm
due
gonna
to
create a
labor
chipping
disputes.
company.
Countries like Sri Lanka are on the brink of bankruptcy due to heavy debt, and this initiative has been heavily criticized. Xi's strategic ambitions to challenge the West have also faltered. The Xiong'an New Area was officially established on April 1st, 2017, and it is now in its 7th year. Some netizens who have visited report that it remains a large empty city, like a place from the end of the world. Other unfinished projects include the Beijing Stock Exchange, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, the Made in China 2025 Plan, the Thousand Talents Plan, real estate developments, poverty alleviation programs, supply-side reform, energy conservation, carbon reduction, and 21 free trade zones. The list continues to grow. Scholar Yuan Hongbing, who lives in Australia, has revealed that Beijing officials have given Xi Jinping the title of Emperor of Unfinished Projects. Whatever he touches, it ends up unfinished. Why? Because Xi's entire set of ideas is based on the ideological legacy of Mao Zedong during the Cultural Revolution. Mao's originalist ideology is a curse on his soul. Besides the political and economic ideology of the Cultural Revolution, he has nothing else. Similar to the leveling of the
Holy
lowest
crap.
plateau, there are also projects like Rice on the Mountain and the Returning Forests to Farmlands initiative. German water resource expert Wang Weiluo pointed out that the Rice on the Mountain is a typical example of the extreme version of returning forests to farmland movement. Before this, the mountainous areas were forested, with slopes often exceeding 25 degrees. However, under pressure to protect the red line of arable land and achieve political results, local agricultural officials turned their attention to these sloped forest lands. This led to the rice-growing experiment initiated by Zhu Youyong, former president of Yunnan Agricultural University and an academician at the Chinese Academy of Engineering. In 2015, Zhu Youyong went to the Longtan County in Yunnan for poverty alleviation and began experimenting with growing rice on mountain slopes, which he claimed was in line with President Xi Jinping's directives. The so-called rice on the mountain farming method involves clearing vegetation from steep slopes to turn the barren land into terraced fields or directly digging the slopes to plant rice. Wang Weiluo bluntly stated, academician Zhu
Dude,
with
that's genius, man. You're turning mountains into food sources. Dude, these guys are geniuses.
his team grew rice on the mountain that yielded 788 kilograms per half acre, which I don't doubt at all. In a
Bold.
small area,
Bold.
I believe you can grow 788 kilograms, but applying this method on a large
big-ass
scale
mold,
across
I'll tell
China
you
is
that.
not feasible. Facing widespread skepticism, Zhu responded, "Seeing is believing." By 2022, Yunnan province had promoted rice cultivation on 500,000 acres of mountainous land. Regarding the effectiveness of this farming method, Wang Weiluo said that the so-called successful cases promoted by the government are on very small plots, heavily maintained with human and material resources, and are essentially experimental fields. When considering the real cost, the efficiency is low, and the method cannot be widely adopted. The situation is particularly
Ooh, look
ironic.
at that. Ooh, so that's a problem. That's a spillage, and it'll just destroy this pot, next pot, next pot.
As during the rainy season in April and May, rice planted on sloped land without proper water and soil conservation is often washed away by heavy rains, leaving farmers in great distress. These
Jeez.
disaster videos have also been spread widely online.
Rice on the mountain, no harvest. It's just deceiving the state's money. Can you believe the rice from February 2024? There's still a lot of this in the fields. Nobody wants it. There are weeds growing around it, even taller than the rice seedlings. Along the shore, some of the green rice seedlings have died too. These fields will soon be leveled. Sweet potatoes will be planted where needed, corn where necessary. Don't plant rice on the mountain next year if there's no water. This year, the harvest is really poor.
The CCP's returning farmland to forests policy, which they'd been advocating for over 20 years, saw a major reversal in 2023. Local governments in provinces such as Henan and Sichuan began to vigorously promote the returning forest to farmland movement, which involves leveling forests and orchards to plant grain, even planting rice on dry mountain slopes in an effort to grow more food and ensure food security. Since mid-April 2023, Chinese netizens have shared photos showing forest land being converted to farmland, including reports that nearly 200 local civil servants in Henan led efforts to uproot entire forests and fill in surrounding water ponds and wetlands in order to level the land for grain cultivation. The large-scale promotion of returning forests to farmland movement sparked widespread domestic and international attention, as well as strong
Well,
backlash.
the problem with this is that they kill a lot of wildlife. Like the panda that used to eat the bamboos, well, they got no more bamboos to eat. But the other thing is like, why rice? Why don't you grow potatoes? I believe potatoes are rice could last longer, like on the shelf, but potatoes, I think they're easier to grow than rice, and you can get more out of them. I don't know. I think the rice is it just requires too much water because you need to have a nice water playing field. It, you should focus on a different fruit or like something else. It doesn't have to be rice. It could be like, I don't know, potatoes. It can't be avocados. What else could be really good for growing in slopes of mountains? Let me think. Let me think. Yeah, I don't know. Mainly potatoes. I think potatoes would do really well. And then turn them into all potato chips. And then China becomes the number one creator of potato chips.
Backlash from rural areas. Later, the central government adjusted its stance. State media Xinhua published an article calling the concept of returning forests to farmland a pseudo-concept, stating that it was not a formally defined policy enacted through legal procedures. This marked a 180-degree reversal in policy. Current affairs commentator Wen Zhao summarized this flip-flop as ruling a large country like flipping a pancake. The implementation of these large projects, instead of helping pull China's economy out of its difficulties, would likely result in a massive waste of social resources and ecological
I don't
damage,
think so.
accelerating the CCP's decline.
I don't think so. I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna do enough trial and error until they figure out how to do it properly, and then all these head scratches will be worth it. But it sucks for the wildlife because they're literally their homeland is just getting destroyed, you know. Like, but the truth is, if they find a way to make more food out of land, then I'm a pro life for humans, so I say do it, make something. But rice is very complicated to grow because you have to have a nice steady level of water, you know. Like potatoes would be easier. Um, there's so many carrots, onions. There's so much shit that you could grow that doesn't require so much water. I don't know. Even cactuses will not require a lot of water. It's like they're doing well. They just need to figure out a different food that they have to grow. Rice is not sustainable because rice is like it just requires too much water. That's my opinion on this giant project. I like what they're doing. It's a smart choice to be able to create more food. But yeah, and just hopefully they do well.